Hello, memory team. This is a quick video to talk you through our prioritization exercise using the RICE framework, which is a really quick way to understand how different issues rank in priority and decide what to do first. It's not a replacement for much more granular and also very important sort of problem validation efforts. This is really a way to take a list of issues or epics and understand where you should start. So given that we have exactly that, I prepared a little example for you. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay, so you did a week where you focused on understanding how we can reduce GitLab's memory footprint, ideally bring it under 2 GB of memory. And as an output from that, there is actually a large list of potential features or improvements, enhancements to GitLab that would allow us to accomplish this goal. But what's unclear at the moment is really where to start. And what I proposed in the meeting yesterday is to use RICE. It's linked here, but just going into the handbook, how to use it, it's essentially a tool to stack rank issues to figure out quickly if certain parts or certain features have a higher priority than others. And as you can see, it talks about reach, so how many customers will actually benefit. In our case, for example, is something only available to a small number of self-managed customers? Is this relevant to GitLab.com? And then scaling in that regard. The impact is about if the changes that we're going to make are going to impact our users and how they will actually impact them. In our specific case, we can use memory consumption as a proxy. So for example, if a specific change would reduce the memory consumption by 500 megabytes, that's obviously a massive impact. If it's only minimal, like a couple of kilobytes, it may be a lot lower. But also really think through the user impact here. It's like memory consumption is important, but what does that actually mean to our users? Do we have to disable something that otherwise would just work that's not particularly desirable, right? So keep that in mind. Confidence is just to scale for our understanding of a problem. So for example, the dropping the GitLab exporter, there is already a notion of we are not quite sure exactly what requires the exporter, how it will impact users. So there's more research, so that reduces our confidence at the moment. And then lastly, it's about effort. This is, let's say, something that is on team agreement. We can talk about how many months, how many releases do we think it will take to deliver on this. And this is really important. If this is a massive effort that can't be broken down, we can't iterate easily, it's going to take 6 months. Really huge effort, and you want to normalize by that. And all of these scores can then be used to calculate the RICE factor or RICE score for an issue. And so I've laid this out down here for you in a little example for the GitLab exporter. So this is my understanding. The exercise for you is to do it for yourself, and then we can come together later in the week and actually discuss that synchronously, but this can be done async. So for the GitLab exporter, I'm estimating the reach is pretty high. This is something that also impacts GitLab.com. It will probably impact most of our self-hosted customers. So high reach impact, 100 MB memory reduction sounds relatively high to me, so I gave it a 2. 70% confidence, some things are unknown, but overall, it sounds like we have some understanding of it. And optimistically, I'm going to say it's going to take 2 months. Who knows, maybe longer. So I calculate the RICE score, 560. And that's for one feature. In here, there are more. So the individual score is not as important, right? If it's 540 or 520, right? That's, at least in my opinion, not really where the meat is. The interesting thing will be if GitLab exporter, in comparison to, for example, extending the Ruby VM with frozen string literal deduplication, which has a score of 100, right? That gives us an indication that maybe addressing the GitLab exporter first is a higher priority compared to that. So it's the relative ranking of those items. It obviously becomes smaller if you have tiny differences because they are essentially random and depend more on our understanding. So give it a try. It's important to do this quickly. Don't spend too much time on it. This is a quick way of getting prioritizations and clarity. This is not a, spend half an hour on each issue. Do it as fast as you can, and then we can come back, collaborate, and discuss. Goodbye.